Hey guys, it's John from Agile for Everything, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about the Agile Manifesto. When you talk about how Agile's different than the way we normally deliver things and stuff and software, we really have to think about why we're doing it in the first place, which is why I love that Agile started out as a philosophy first and then methods and practices later. So how did this come about? In 2001, out in Snowbird, Utah, a bunch of software developers said, we're sick and tired of developing things the old-fashioned way. People aren't happy, we're delivering late, it's not meeting the demands of our customers, and we really don't know what's going on. All our plans are not executing the way we want it to. And so they came up with a statement of values, a statement of principles first. So a manifesto, while it sounds scary when you think of like the Communist Manifesto or the Hackers Manifesto, all a manifesto is a statement of principles, a statement of ideals. And that's what you have to have before you can build anything else on top of it, because as you evolve, if you're not sticking to your values and principles, then why are you doing it in the first place? I like to think of it as religion, right? There are so many branches of, say, Christianity, but they all come down to some core tenets that you have to believe in before everything else. You can argue over the details. And the same is true for the methods and principles of Agile. So what are the values of the Agile Manifesto? Well, they came to realize and documented all the way back in 2001 that there was a different way of building software. They valued things differently. What did they value? Well, first, they valued individuals and interactions over processes and tools. So we'll talk about that. They valued working with people, listening to your customer. They valued that interactions are more valuable than sticking to processes, sticking to software, sticking to tools, sticking to workflows. Because why are you delivering software if it's not to help people get something done? So we want to encourage more working with individuals instead of just sticking to the process. Now, that doesn't mean there's no process. Obviously, if you do things like Scrum, it's very rigorous. But yet, even you can do Scrum to a fault by following the process so strictly that you're ignoring individuals and interactions. Next up, we talk about working software over comprehensive documentation. We value a working thing over comprehensive paperwork, documentation, descriptions about the thing. The way I like to think about that is, would you rather have the user's manual for your car, or would you rather test drive the car? Well, obviously, we want to test drive the car. We want to see it work. We want to see how it feels. We want to use it in its environment. And yet, if you focus just on, well, the software can do X, Y, and Z, then that's great, but I want to use it now. And so you want to value seeing the working software over comprehensive documentation. What's comprehensive? Well, you'll know it when you see it. One of the fallacies of Agile is people think that it's no documentation. It's just the opposite. It's only delivering valuable documentation. It says we value working software over comprehensive documentation. So your user will tell you what's just enough. And by the way, if it works well and you've designed it well, you've architected it well, the thing will need minimal documentation. The third thing is we value customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So when we expect our customers to change their mind, we expect customer feedback. And so if you stick to the contract and say, well, sorry, I'd like to help you, but the contract says, you're not responding to what your customers need. Remember, individuals and interactions are more important. So therefore, we need to prioritize customer collaboration over contract negotiation. And the last of the four values is we value responding to change over following a plan. And that's what really Agile is all about. It's understanding that plans are great, and yet you need to be able to respond to the changes that happen. Um, Planning makes people feel comfortable. It makes you feel confident in all the work you've laid out. But when things change, and they're going to change, you want to be able to go to that new route, given new data or given what your customer has said, so that you're building a better product, not sticking to the old plan. Now, again, that's another fallacy, is people think that the myth of Agile is that it's not any planning. Again, if you know Scrum, and we'll talk about Scrum in a future video, if you know Scrum, that it's very rigorous. It's a lot of planning. You're planning every 2 weeks. And yet, it's these little iterations that help you plan, you deliver what you know, and plan for what you don't know. And so you want to ensure that you are responding to change over following the plan just because the plan was the plan. All 4 of these things we'll go into as we evolve into this Agile for Everything. But I think it's good to start with the software Agile Manifesto. You're going to hear a lot in this channel about Agile being used for all aspects of your life. And you can already start to think ahead if you're thinking about replacing software with whatever goal you're trying to accomplish. What other thing that you're delivering for someone. It doesn't have to be a software thing. If you're a small business, what product are you creating? How can you use those aspects of the manifesto to deliver value to your customers? Oh, and how can you live well, eat right, become more spiritual? How can you apply all these principles to make sure that you're creating better value without wasting a lot of time and effort, and responding to change over following that plan? So that's it for now. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks.